Hi there, Mike from Greenway. Today's question is it risky to buy an electric vehicle? And so that might be something you're wondering about if it's time to, buy a new car, time to replace the vehicle you've been driving, and you've got the choice now between the gas or electric. Maybe you're doing research to figure out what's the right choice for you. And of course, the biggest thing that comes to mind is electric cars. It's something that we have not grown up with, something that we have not lived with, something that we haven't experienced. And so, due to that, the risk could be higher potentially because we don't have the background knowledge or experience with it. So, if you are looking at a new car, there's lots of EVs available and lots of gas cars available, and the simplest and maybe most comfortable thing to do would be to simply go and buy another gas car to replace your other gas car, which sounds logical. It makes sense because that's what we're used to. I mean, that's what we've been driving our whole lives, and most of us have no experience with an electric vehicle. So that makes sense, but you hear a lot in the news about electric vehicles, and are they the right thing for you? And so, just like a gas car, electric cars that are new also they all come with warranties. Many of them come with 10-year battery warranties, and the battery is the most expensive part of the car. Just like on a gas vehicle, the most expensive part of the vehicle is the engine, the motor. So there's always a chance that a gas motor could fail and need to be replaced, but you have the warranty to rely on. Many or all new electric vehicles have warranties as well, and they, as I mentioned, often have 10-year warranties on the battery, which is essentially the sort of equivalent expensive component in a battery vehicle, and they have warranties as well. All right, so let's say you decided that it might be the right thing for you, but new cars are expensive. They're at least $50,000, $60,000. Do you want to risk that money? Do you want to spend that money on a vehicle? If it's a gas car, there's a level of comfort there, and that we've come to accustomed to because we've been driving them for a long time. With battery cars, do we want to buy an electric vehicle that's $40,000 or $50,000? And take that risk, because that's a lot of money to risk. So, is there another option that we could do instead? Well, I guess the other option would be to buy a used vehicle, just like on a gas vehicle. If you want to save some money, save some of that depreciation, you buy an older vehicle, maybe 3 years old or 5 years old. But as we know with any gas vehicle, that 3 or 5 years old, the warranty is coming close to the end. There's higher potential for repairs. And the same thing for an electric vehicle. I mean, the warranty will be, expiring, in the next few years. And is there potential for something going wrong with them? Yes, of course. It's a machine. Any machine can break. And if it was 2011 or 2012, some of the original electric vehicles coming out, now that we've been living with them for 15 years, some of those original ones, the very, very early ones, there were some issues with them. Nissan Leaf in 11 and 12, the batteries were known to degrade a little bit faster in hot climates. And in those early days, some of the Teslas, Model S's, had higher number of problems because it's a brand new vehicle. But if you fast forward even to 2014, 2015, the reliability of those vehicles really improved. And if you look at any kind of magazine that does reliability reports like Consumer Reports or JD Power, they're going to show that the vehicles after a few years, after 2014, 2015 model year, start to get a lot more reliable. But of course, you'd want to do your own research on that and check it out. But do you want to buy a 10-year-old electric car? Maybe not. I mean, so if you look at 3 to 5-year-old electric vehicles, those ones, are quite reliable from my experience in dealing with different vehicles. One of the questions that often gets asked is, how often do you have to replace the battery in the electric vehicles? And I would answer that question with, it's kind of the same question as how often do you have to replace the motor in your gas car? And that might sound like a kind of a silly question, but the answer is the same actually for both. So typically the gas engine in your gas car will last the lifetime of the car. Eventually once it gets to be quite old, eventually all vehicles break, of course. So something will break. Maybe it will be your motor, or maybe it will be some other components, transmission or whatnot. Similar to electric vehicles. How often do you have to replace the battery? The reality is, they're not designed for you to have to replace the battery every 2 or 3 or 4 years. And I know that that's different from our experience dealing with cell phones or laptop batteries and that sort of thing. Those ones only last 2 or 3 or 4 years and we have to replace them. But there's a lot of 10-year-old electric vehicles out there now running around with 10-year-old batteries, and they're not replaced, and they're still the original batteries. They're still fully functional and able to allow people to commute as needed. So that would be something for you to take a look at if you're considering a little bit of an older used vehicle, gas or electric. Talk to the owners of those vehicles. If you're thinking of buying a 7-year-old Nissan Leaf, as a potential vehicle, as a used electric vehicle. You may also want to speak to an equivalent gas car owner, so a 7-year-old Nissan Versa is a very similar gas car, and you might want to ask the owners the reliability. And I'm not saying ask the person who's selling it, because they may not be as honest with you or upfront, but ask people in your community or your workplace, how is that Nissan Versa, the gas car, treating you? And conversely, how is that Nissan Leaf treating you after all those years? So I have found that after driving electric vehicles since 2013, I've got high level of confidence in their reliability and suitability. Of course, you also have to look at your driving situation, which is a little bit different than gas cars. Gas cars can go 400 or 500, 300 or 400 miles usually on a tank of fuel. Older electric cars, they don't have as long of a range, so they might not fit into your lifestyle, and that's maybe a topic of another video. If you have a long commute you need to have every day, certain electric vehicles with lower ranges may not fit into your situation. So if I go back to the original question of, is it risky to buy an electric vehicle? I would say the risks among different models are going to vary, just like among gas cars. Some will be known to be more reliable than others, just like among gas cars. And so I think it would be important to take a look at which vehicle would fit your needs in the terms of range and see if it would fit in your lifestyle. So when we bought our first electric vehicle, we kept we had 2 cars, and we kept our other gas vehicle, and so we had 1 gas and 1 electric. And as a commuter car, the electric worked great and still does, but as a long road trip vehicle, we had the gas car for a few more years until electric vehicles started to come down to more reasonable prices where you can buy longer range electric vehicles. Anyways, that's a topic of a different video to talk about the different ranges that you can get out of the cars. But maybe in another video, what I'll do is I'll show you my 10-year-old electric vehicle, and how it's held up. And that car just starts every time, gets us around to where we need to go. It's not long range, it's a shorter range vehicle, so it's not suitable for road trips, that particular 10-year-old one. But it's been pretty reliable, and we're happy with it. And the reason why, so why would you choose the inconvenience of having a short range vehicle compared to a long range gas vehicle? And the answer is cost. The cost to fuel up or recharge the vehicle is just a lot less. It's costing us a lot less to fill up with electricity in our electric car than it is to have maintained a 10-year-old gas car which also would need oil changes and other routine maintenance items as well. So there's some ideas for you to consider when they're considering the risks of purchasing an electric vehicle. I'd be curious to get your thoughts on it. If you want to leave some comments for me, and we can have a conversation in the comments section. If this video you found it helpful at all, please consider giving me a thumbs up and subscribe for future similar videos. Thanks very much. Have a great day.